Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for week ending June the 30th. This report is for York Region. It comes out every Thursdays, but I cover all the GTA. On Tuesdays, you can get the report for the City of Toronto. Wednesdays, I cover Peel and Durham. And on Saturdays, I cover the luxury market, which is any property listed or sold at $3 million or more. So this is your one-stop shop for all your GTA real estate needs. And when I go through the York Region numbers, you're going to ask yourself the same question I'm asking myself: where did all the sellers go? You know, a lot of you that watch me on YouTube, you'll call me and you'll talk to me about your own particular real estate situations, and I love receiving the calls. Now, sometimes, obviously, I'm in a meeting or I'm with other clients and I can't take those calls, but we're going to make it a bit easier to be able to reach me at a time that works for you. In the description below, there's a calendar link. You want to talk to me? Click the link below and you could book a time that makes sense for you. This way, I know that at that time I need to be free to be able to speak to you. And the way I see it, if you're going to take the time to reach out to me, I want to make sure you have the time you deserve, and this way I could deal with and answer and talk to you about anything you want to talk about real estate wise. Do me a favor, before I get into the numbers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, share the video, and comment on anything that we're talking about. Comment. Some of you agree with me, some of you don't. That's okay. Let's just keep the conversation going. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to talk about York Region. I'm going to talk about condos first for all of York Region, and then I'm going to break down the detached market for Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. So we got condos on the board here. There's about 8 months or so broken down on a weekly basis. Last week, sales came down from the previous week. In all of York Region, we sold only 56 condos. Now, when we kind of look back, the peak, we were sitting at over 100, so we're about half of where we were just a few months ago when it comes to sales. Average sold price came down to $620. Is what the average condo sold for last week, and that's down by about 60,000 from our peak kind of at the end of March. Compared to last year, average sold price for condos is 4% higher than it was last year at this time. Now, remember last year, the general feeling for condos was let's get out of the condo business, and so sales are supposed to be higher. And when we go looking at last year's sales, now the blue, that's last year's sold numbers for the same week endings. And as you can see, sales were going higher. This year we started high and sales are coming down lower to where we only sold 56. Last year at this time we sold 81. Of the 56, 50% sold at list price or more. Last year for the same week it was 36%. Looking at listings, again, the blue is last year's numbers. Listings were going up, where this time last year we listed 154 condos. This year we've listed only 114. Big difference from what was happening last year. And months of inventory is now sitting at 1.5. So months of inventory came up, sales are lower, listings are higher. 1.5 is the months of inventory, and that, you know, when we look at the 620 average sold price, it has been coming down gradually. It's not a steep decline, but we peaked in the high 600s and now we're in the low 600. It's taken us a few months to get there. Let's look at the detached market. I'm talking about Vaughan, and then I'm going to do Richmond Hill and Markham. So looking at sales, we sold 46 detached properties in Vaughan last week. 46 is up from the previous week, but you know, we were in the 90s and now we're down to 46, about half of where we were when we're at our peak as far as sales go. 9 of those were sold at $2 million or more, and average sold price is way up at $1,745,000. Now when we look at that $1,745,000 and we kind of compare it, and we were at our peak here at $1,760,000, $1,750,000 excuse me, it's kind of in line for where we were at the high end. We're not higher, but we're back up to kind of some of our highest numbers. Compared to last year, well, last year we sold 2 properties at $2 million or more. This year we sold 9 in the same week at $2 million or more. So it's, we're trying to compare apples to apples, but it's a different business last year at this time. And we're 38% higher, which is a crazy number. Looking at sales, we sold a little bit more this year than we did last year at this time. Of the 46, a little over half, 59% sold at list price or more. Listings are down. We were listing in the high 130 per week, and now we're down to 74. We listed only 74 detached properties in Vaughan last week, and that's bringing the months of inventory down to 1.5. So it's still a very tight market. There's not as much activity as we're used to seeing over the previous weeks, but at 1.5, it's still very much a seller's market in the Vaughan region. But when we I'm going to go back a little bit here. When we look at the listings here, 74 were listed. Last year was 91. I'm wondering, and we were listing here before 138. This is where I'm asking, where did all the sellers go? There was talk a few months ago, because of the stay-at-home orders, there's lots of people, lots of sellers not listing their home because they don't want strangers coming into their house during this health crisis. Well, economy's opening up, things starting to change. Lots of people have had 1 shot, lots of people have had 2 shots now. Where are the sellers? Could it be just a seasonal thing at this time of the year? People have, every year, kind of middle of July to August, sales kind of taper down a little bit, listings taper down a little bit. It's a normal, is that what's happening? It's really tough to pinpoint why there's not more listings right now. Really tough to pinpoint. Okay, so this was, I'm all over the place here. Sorry. Vaughan. Okay. I got a new clicker. First day with my new clicker. I'm obviously screwing up the directions here. Okay, so we got Richmond Hill detached. Sales are way down. In all of Richmond Hill, 29 detached properties were sold. If you think that's a lot, I'm telling you it's not. We were up in the 70s, we were up in the 50s. 29, that's it. 6 properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price came up to $1,741,000. So sales are way down, but average sold price is up. And compared to last year, well, last week we were 6% lower than last year's average sold price. This week we are 10% higher than last year's average sold price. Goes to show you, don't make really important decisions just on what happens in 1 week. You really kind of got to get an overall picture. That's why it's so important to hire a good realtor to help you with your real estate needs. So sales, last year's sales were going up. That's the blue numbers that I'm looking at. This year, sales are coming down to where only 29 were sold. And last year at this time, we actually were selling more detached properties in Richmond Hill. Of the 29, 48% sold at list price or more, which is way down from the 70s and 80s that we were doing in April. 70 or 80% sold at list price or more. Now we're down into the 40s. Looking at listings, we listed only 61 detached properties in Richmond Hill last week. Last year at this time, we did better. We were listing 72. And 61 is down from the previous week of 68. Again, I'm asking, where are all the sellers? Where are all these properties that are supposed to be listed? They're just not there. And months of inventory from Richmond Hill is up to 2.4. Now, Richmond Hill, as far as months of inventories go, has one of the highest months of inventory for all the GTA areas. Still very much a seller's market, where a lot of the other months of inventories are sitting at 1, less than 1, 1.5. Richmond Hill sitting at 2.4. Markham. So for the last 3 weeks, sales has been sitting in the 40s. Last week we sold 44 detached properties in Markham. 4 of those, only 4 were at $2 million or more. Average sold price has come down to $1,535,000, and the Markham average sold price story is a little bit different than Vaughan and Richmond Hill. Vaughan and Richmond Hill, average sold price is up, and it's kind of staying in the upper top levels of where it was earlier on in the year. But Markham has come down from 1,770,000 or so. It's sat around 1,600,000, and now it's under 1,500,000. Average sold price of Markham has been coming down quite a bit. Compared to last year, we're still 22% higher than when it comes to last year's average sold price. But similar to other areas, the blue is last year, sales were going up. This year, the orange, sales are coming down. For the last few weeks, we've basically been on par as far as sales goes to exactly what we were doing last year at this time. Now, of the 44 that were sold, this year 68% sold at list price or more. Last year it was 61%, so fairly close. So the experience this year is going to be very similar to what it was last year. Listings. There was much more choice last year as far as properties, detached properties in Markham than we have this year. There's 58 were listed last week. That's it, just 58 detached properties. Months of inventory has stayed the same though, at 1.3 months of inventory. And as a summary of all these regions, well, you got your York region, just the condos, months of inventory did go up a little bit to 1.5. For Markham, it stayed the same. Richmond Hill, it went up to 2.4, and Vaughan actually came down a little bit to 1.5. Very much still a seller's market, but attitudes are starting to change out there. There's not a lot of properties coming onto the market, and as long as months of inventory stay this slow, not a lot of choices. The buyers are still there. There's just not as many choices as there was before. Prices are going to continue to stay where they are now, or go up. Or maybe we're at our peak already and we've passed the peak and they're going to stabilize a little bit. There's so many things going on in this market right now. It's so important you're working with a really good realtor. My name is Santo Sessa with RE/MAX Premier. Thanks for watching.